User Animus2468, who goes by Hasbin, submitted 2 unsettling security camera clips recorded at their father's airsoft facility. While the timestamps on the footage were out of sync and unreliable, both incidents are said to have taken place after dark. During the first recording, the entire facility was believed to be deserted, yet when the footage was played back, something that couldn't be easily explained was seen moving through one of the rooms. Almost immediately, a dark, human-shaped figure appears low to the ground, appearing to crawl or hobble away from the camera's perspective. It moves quickly past a wooden pallet and heads toward the edge of the room. Shortly after, the figure seems to strike or slam against the wall nearby, before vanishing entirely. The owner is adamant that nobody was present anywhere inside the facility when this was recorded, and yet this wasn't the only strange figure caught on camera there. The man who passes beneath the camera and glances straight up at it is supposedly the sole person in that room. But once he steps out of frame, a second shadowy shape emerges along the far left edge of the footage. This unsettling figure appears to shuffle slowly in the direction of the camera, seemingly leaning on a long stick or cane for support. The owner maintains that the man had absolutely no one else with him that evening. The first figure could potentially be explained away as an animal or an intruder crawling through the space, and the second might just be another person obscured by the low light. But if the building was genuinely unoccupied during that first incident, and the man in the second clip truly had no company, then who exactly were these 2 mysterious figures roaming the airsoft site in the dead of night? In September 2024, a man going by the name Ariel took to social media to share that he had taken a job as a nighttime security guard at a school situated in a remote corner of Argentina. The property owner brought him on because the building was in the middle of renovations and needed someone to keep unauthorized visitors out after hours. What Ariel didn't fully anticipate, though, was just how unsettling the school's past turned out to be. The structure was more than a century old, and because it had been built deep in a densely forested area, far from any residential neighborhoods, people had apparently been drawn there for years to carry out witchcraft and disturbing rituals, and that was only part of the story. Ariel himself claimed that over the decades, both students and teachers had died within those walls under circumstances that were never properly explained. It was in this deeply troubled place that Ariel found himself alone every single night, responsible for the entire building, and it didn't take long before the discomfort set in, not just because of what he'd heard about the school's history, but because the atmosphere after dark felt entirely different from anything he'd experienced before. He kept reporting the sound of footsteps echoing down the corridors and objects crashing to the floor, even after he'd thoroughly checked every room and confirmed there was nobody else around. Initially, he tried to rationalize it, telling himself it was either his mind playing tricks or maybe squatters sneaking in for shelter. In an effort to convince himself nothing was truly wrong, he started broadcasting his nightly walkthroughs live, taking his viewers through every hallway and classroom in the building. Then during one of those streams, something happened that was very difficult to dismiss.
Cuando empiezan a ladrar los perros así a llorar. Visto. Ahí empieza a joder, como a golpear. Todas las noches hace lo mismo. ¿Qué pasa? Tempranito empieza a hinchar la...
While Ariel is lying on the floor filming one of the classrooms mid-renovation, a sharp knocking suddenly starts coming from one of the metal doors nearby. Moments later, the door slowly swings open on its own, with no one anywhere near it. Visibly shaken, Ariel jumps to his feet and moves into the room where the noise originated, only to find it completely vacant. A few nights later, during another shift, Ariel needed to make his way to the restroom. Given everything he'd already witnessed in that building, he made sure to keep his camera rolling the entire time. What unfolded on that walk was something he would never be able to shake from his memory. As you'll both see and hear, it starts with the sound of a child's laughter drifting through the deserted hallways. Then, just seconds after that, the door slams violently shut behind him, as though something was determined to keep him from going anywhere. Following that night, Ariel reported that the strange occurrences only intensified. Lights began switching on and off by themselves, items would turn up in places he hadn't left them, and on multiple separate nights, he heard what sounded like children laughing from the direction of the cafeteria, despite knowing with certainty that the school was empty. But the recording that left people the most unsettled came during yet another live stream, and this time it wasn't even Ariel who caught it first. It was someone watching from home. There in the reflection of one of the windows, the face of what appears to be a young girl is clearly visible, watching Ariel as he continues filming, completely unaware. What makes this even harder to rationalize is that there was virtually no way a child could have been present in that location at that time of night. Once these clips started spreading online, the story took off across Argentina almost immediately. Then, without any warning, Ariel went completely silent and stopped sharing updates about the school altogether. Nobody has ever found out exactly why. Some people suspect the property owners pressured him into shutting down the streams. Others think the experience simply became too much for him, and he walked away from the job entirely. Either way, he has never posted another video from those nighttime patrols since, and whether that was a choice he made freely or something else entirely, we may never know. What you're about to see comes from a man who says he went through something deeply unsettling while taking a rest in his parked car late at night. He had stopped on the side of the road to recover before getting back behind the wheel. Everything initially appeared completely quiet and uneventful, but after dozing off briefly, he was jolted awake by what sounded like somebody weeping just outside the vehicle. Sensing that something wasn't right, he pulled out his phone and started filming his surroundings. Here's what the footage actually shows.
¡Ya lo habían matado! Pinabawa bakit? ¡Ya lo habían!
Almost immediately after the video starts, the sound of sobbing becomes clearly audible, seemingly drifting in from somewhere just beyond the car. Shaken, the man sweeps his camera across different angles, trying to locate whoever might be out there. But here's the thing, despite those unmistakable cries ringing out in the darkness, not a single person is visible anywhere around him. As the weeping persists, dread starts to set in, and he makes the decision to stay put inside the car while nervously scanning the shadows beyond the windows. The clip cuts off without ever exposing what was behind that haunting sound. A group of friends are killing time at a house party when they wander into the host's younger sister's bedroom. The space is packed with toys and games, among them a Simon memory game, the kind that flashes colored lights in a sequence for you to repeat back. But on this particular night, the friends start to suspect the toy is doing something far beyond its intended function.
Okay, so
Okay, I'll go. Okay, is my shirt black? Dude, this thing is possessed, man. This thing is possessed.
That's a no.
Am I a girl?
At first glance, it looks like they're just goofing around, but rather than cycling through its usual light sequences, the Simon seems to be reacting directly to what they're saying, almost as though something is communicating through it. The group had only headed upstairs out of sheer boredom. The little sister wasn't there that evening, so they settled into her room, surrounded by her artwork and playthings. Then the toy starts behaving oddly, and the entire atmosphere in that room shifts.
Dude, it was acting up earlier.
You guys keep being here.
Alex was all good.
Really? Hang it up.
This thing is possessed, man. This thing is possessed. All right, okay. Ask me a question.
What color is the sky? Wait. I guess I need to ask yes or no. Is the sky blue?
No! Dude, come on, ask it a question.
It's probably just like broken.
Dude, get over here. Ask it a question, dude.
First of all, it's not even yours.
Kind of exhilarating.
Dude. Yeah.
Am I black?
Oh! Oh! It knows, dude.
Throw that
It
Probably stuck
knows.
on the green button or something.
That's good. No.
Am I a girl? Oh!
Okay, so it
shit.
knows.
Dude, it knows, dude.
So
this
it
thing's,
knows.
this thing's, it's like one of those Ouija boards,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah, like-
It knows.
My
Oh.
mom played with one.
Okay, have you guys not seen horror movies?
Oh, dude, the picture, dude. The picture.
Oh. She drew that?
Yeah, dude.
Dude, this will actually like tell.
Okay. Are you with us in this room?
Put like 2 fingers on it or something.
Oh! Oh my gosh, that's so creepy. That is so creepy, dude.
Okay, is
Did you
this...
find that thing?
Dude, it's just on the floor, man.
Yo, are we actually haunted right now?
Dude, I'm like actually kind of scared, dude. Like, what even is that?
Like a...
Okay, okay. All right, well let's get real crazy.
I'm about to leave.
I'm leaving.
Did you guys hear
We're on the
there?
second floor.
What?
Window?
It came from right here, yeah?
There, you see that? We're on the second floor.
Oh, okay, all right. Okay.
The friends bolt out of there after something taps against the window. And here's the detail that really gets under your skin. That bedroom sits on the second floor with no balcony and no obvious way for anyone to be standing on the other side of that glass. Afterwards, the group starts fixating on a peculiar figure sketched in one of the child's drawings, wondering if it might be tied to everything that just unfolded. Some people watching have suggested the toy was functioning as a kind of conduit, perhaps for whatever the little girl had captured in that drawing. Believe it or not, everyone in that room walked away certain that something had been responding to them.
Is the sky. Wait.
So was this a simple case of a glitching toy, or did these friends unknowingly open a conversation with something they can't explain? For now, those strange responses and that tap on the window are still without any answer. In July 2023, Sam and GS made their way out to an abandoned farmhouse somewhere in the British countryside. Sheep were roaming freely along the road leading up to it. The sky hung heavy and overcast, and both of them agreed the conditions felt just right.
Creepy house right now with disgusting.
The moment they arrived, it became clear that someone had boarded up the front entrance.
So someone sealed the door, so this is the only way in now. Nice. So we're inside.
Their only option was a narrow gap along the side of the building, and the stench hit them before they'd even made it through.
Smells like
Death.
nothing I've ever smelled.
There's a reason why it smells like death as well.
What waited inside was the home of a hoarder. A newspaper dated 1981 sat open on a dresser. The TV in the corner was thick with cobwebs. Bags of dog food had been piled into virtually every room, far more than any single household could ever go through.
81. He looks like her, like, gone for a shower and stuff like that.
Oh.
This place is just full of strange, dirty things. Like all these horse toys.
Look, they've kept all of the dog food and their food.
Close to the fireplace, they came across her diary, something she had kept up faithfully each and every day, recording not just the mundane rhythms of farm life, but also the gradual unraveling of everything she knew. She wrote about lambs that suddenly stopped feeding, sheep in the back field too feeble to get to their feet, even the family dog, which slowly lost all movement in its legs. Page after page painted a devastating picture of a woman pouring herself into saving her animals while they continued to slip away faster than she could keep up.
Anything she does every day.
Sunny today, bother and worry with the sheep again. A lamb that won't eat. And pet hog, which is losing the use of his legs. Oh, look.
Then they pushed through into the kitchen, and that was where they found the animals.
Really starts finding dead animals. Look. A coffin.
Oh man, a massive coffin.
That's even labelled as well.
What does it say?
That's it.
Oh my god.
It's a disintegrated dog.
Is that maggots?
Old, dead, dried up maggots.
Oh my gosh.
The deeper they ventured, the more overwhelming the smell became, and what surrounded them only made things worse. Bones were strewn across the floor and heaped inside the sink, while a wheelbarrow loaded with more remains sat nearby, and sealed bags had been arranged in a tidy row against the wall. A chainsaw, a large metal basin, and several containers of battery acid were also discovered close by, a combination that left almost no room for innocent interpretation.
There's bones everywhere. Oh my god.
It's disgusting.
In the sink. That one had horns.
She obviously lost her mind.
Look, bags of bodies. Chainsaw.
Oh yeah, but this is what this was.
Yeah, this white bag is just a bag of bodies. They probably didn't want to get into trouble, did they?
Oh yeah, so they hid it all.
For, but like, neglecting the animals. Oh my god.
There was obviously dirty fucking...
Burning them.
Yeah, something like that, really, yeah. They obviously just like getting rid of them.
Oh my god. Yeah, look, they've even got the tub for it. Burning down the bones.
Yeah.
This is literally the most hillbilly room I've ever been in. So when she was writing about them dying in that diary, this is probably them. She's literally just brought them in bags. I keep hearing that.
Neither of them had any idea that vehicles had pulled up outside. They hadn't caught a single sound of it.
Okay, so there's like 3 people outside the house right now. I don't know if they're gonna come in or not. There's an old man in the front garden. I don't even want to look. Fuck, I wonder which door he can access. Shh. He's trying to get in the front.
An elderly man was out front attempting to get through the doors. 2 more men stood waiting near the road. The pair killed their lights, retreated upstairs in complete darkness, and kept the camera rolling without making a sound. Outside, the men circled the property, disappeared briefly, then returned and positioned themselves where they could watch the windows. They remained there for well over an hour.
Why would they turn around just to come back?
I'm watching them. It's weird. They've just pulled up there, like 3 meters up the road.
They might be trying to seal it. See the old dresser over there? Poo everywhere. What's in these other rooms? Should we have a look in these other rooms? And then we're pretty much finished. This is the...
Already deep inside the most unsettling place either of them had ever set foot in, they suddenly realized there was an old man standing right behind them.
bed. Just covered. Oh shit. Oh my god. Just old people looking after themselves. It's really bad. I can't believe I'm trapped in this.
Afterward, they spoke with a couple of locals who filled in the history. The husband and wife who had worked the farm had both passed away, leaving their daughter to manage everything on her own. She couldn't hold it together. Rather than contacting the authorities when sheep died, she moved them into the utility room, terrified of what animal welfare officials might do. The pets she simply could not bring herself to bury. She held on until the house became impossible to live in, and then she walked away and left it all exactly as it was. On September 10th, 2024, another deeply disturbing piece of footage was recorded in the same area, one that raises more questions than it answers. Shot by a CCTV camera mounted on a residential balcony, the clip shows a completely deserted road. There was no obvious explanation for why the motorcyclist lost control, yet he abruptly swerved and collided with a wall. Pay close attention to what unfolds. If you look carefully, the instant the rider struck the wall, a dark shadow emerged from the left side of the wall, drifted toward the right, and disappeared into the darkness. It looked almost as if some figure or presence had been crouching there, then stood up, accomplished whatever it set out to do, and slipped away. Yet no physical form can be found to explain how that shadow was created. The caption accompanying the video confirmed the man walked away unharmed, though nobody had actually noticed the shadow at the time of the incident. The figure only came to anyone's attention once the footage was reviewed in an attempt to understand what caused the crash. Those looking for a rational explanation suggested it might be the shadow of tree leaves. But a closer examination shows that everything else in the frame remained completely still, and there was no light source positioned at that angle that could have produced such a shape. The outline was strikingly defined and consistent. Some viewers have gone as far as suggesting this presence may have deliberately caused the collision, though the real answer remains a mystery. What's your take? This next clip was submitted to me directly by a guy named Cameron, and it was recorded at a restaurant somewhere in Arizona. Late one night, while all the staff were up front taking care of customers, something deeply unsettling was unfolding in the back storage room. Cameron himself was the first one to notice it. See for yourself what was caught on camera.
Look at that.
Oh, what?
Right there. No, wait. It gets better. It gets better. That's not it. It gets better. Look up here.
What is that?
Right there.
Oh!
Yeah.
What?
Serious, bro?
Yeah. Remember the bar this morning, Susie? I showed you
Yes.
that demon rabbit from hell. No, wait. Look. Is that a face right there, guys? No, look. Oh my God! It just moved. It just moved.
It literally.
It's, watch it. Get your eyes on it. See?
Ew.
See? I told you.
Dude, that's scary.
I know,
It's literally
right?
gone.
I think it's pretty cool, actually.
A ghastly pale face with large dark eyes appears reflected in the surface of the fridge, just watching, before slowly shifting position. It then turns directly toward the camera and vanishes just as suddenly as it appeared, almost as though it was never there at all. Needless to say, most of the staff are now pretty reluctant to go anywhere near that area by themselves. A few months before this incident, something else went down during the restaurant's closing shift. One of the employees spotted an emergency exit door at the rear of the building swing open on its own. He cautiously made his way toward it, staying on guard in case someone had broken in, and that's when something absolutely chilling unfolded. What appears to be a hand or an enormous finger materializes out of thin air and firmly taps the employee on his shoulder from behind, sending him into a panic and straight out of that area. The security footage isn't the sharpest, but it's pretty difficult to argue with the fact that something clearly appeared behind him, made contact, and then vanished. On a separate occasion, another staff member thought he spotted a reflection of someone on the fridge even though no one else was around, so he stayed put and tried to get another look. Pay close attention to what happens next.
Bro. Am I tripping? Who is that? Nah, man. Nah, bro, what the fuck?
As he studies the fridge reflection, Seemingly catching a glimpse of that same eerie face from before, a cabinet door suddenly flies open right in front of his face. And these incidents are far from isolated. There have been countless reports of objects moving on their own and other unexplained activity throughout the place. So just what exactly is lurking inside this restaurant? I'd genuinely love to know what you all think. Artist Susie Salome claims that her family home in England is deeply haunted. The property dates back to 1902 and still holds various peculiar objects left behind by those who lived there before. But Susie says the most unsettling of all is found on the 3rd floor, an old painting abandoned by a former tenant. She believes it could be the most spiritually charged item in the entire house, and possibly the source of her young niece's increasingly disturbing behavior.
What I heard, I heard that. I'm not stupid, I'm very smart. I'm the smartest kid in class. Okay, not really. Do you want this or do I keep it? Okay. I'm tired. I'm hungry. It could get cold. You can't touch cold stuff. But
According to Susie, her niece regularly holds long, eerie conversations with a spirit she calls Gilbert, whom the child insists resides within the painting. Eventually, Susie and her brother decide to sit the little girl down and ask her about him.
Gilbert's like one of my best friends.
Where did he come from?
I don't know. I think the man that used to live here painted it.
Is Gilbert friendly? Does he speak to you?
Yeah.
What does he say?
What comes out of her mouth leaves them both deeply unsettled, and it only gets stranger from there. When Susie begins digging into the property's past, she uncovers an old photograph along with records about the people who once called this house their home.
There's a photo of the house from 1916 and it was built in 1902. This would be the first or one of the first families to live in this house. As you can see, there are 6 people present in the photo. I'm looking at the English census records. I found that the father would be called John, the mother was called Maud. Next to her on the balcony is her daughter Dorothy. The birth of a little boy called Gilbert was also registered here in 1911. So he would be about 5 or 6 in this photo. I'm unsure why he's not with the rest of his family in the photo, what they did to him. I just have an overwhelming feeling that something really terrible happened to him at the hands of his own family. The weirdest part is that this is where the sun painting.
After that discovery, the paranormal activity appears to escalate. On one particular day, while Susie is alone in the house, she hears a series of loud thuds from somewhere above her. She pulls out her phone and begins filming as she heads upstairs to investigate. The banging seems to be coming from the playroom where Gilbert's painting hangs, yet when she steps inside, the room is completely empty. Then, on a separate night, she discovers her niece doing something deeply alarming in that same 3rd floor space. The girl is pulling at the floorboards while softly singing "You Are My Sunshine." That detail is particularly chilling, because Gilbert is said to have a connection to an old painting depicting the sun. Later that evening, after the child is tucked into bed, Susie and her brother go back to examine the spot she had been clawing at, and what they uncover will send a chill straight through you.
Looks like it comes up.
Beneath those floorboards sits an ancient Ouija board bearing a sun symbol that looks strikingly close to the image in Gilbert's painting. Whether it was pure coincidence or something unseen steering the child toward it, Susie is left with far more questions than she'll ever be able to answer. On September 9th, 2025, 4 friends headed down to Mexico for what was meant to be a laid-back vacation. They brought a disposable camera along for the ride to document the trip. It wasn't until they got back home and developed the photos that one particular shot stopped them cold. Lurking just behind the group is what appears to be a shadowy figure with a disturbingly contorted face, seemingly grinning straight into the lens. The person who posted this says they have absolutely no explanation for what was standing there that day. So what's your take? Could that disposable camera have picked up something or someone that had no business being in that photo? Drop your thoughts down in the comments below. One night, a woman named Anne was getting ready for bed when her phone buzzed with an alert from her outdoor security camera. Curious, she pulled up the live feed, and what she found scattered across her yard was a cluster of strange, glowing orbs. Just past the front porch of this remote Summerland ranch, something was moving through the frost-covered ground on all fours. The creature almost passes for human at first glance, but the more you look, the more wrong it seems. Its frame is disturbingly slender, with limbs that stretch far beyond any normal human proportion. And then there's the way it moves. It crawls with a speed that no animal should be capable of. Whatever this thing is, it doesn't match anything from the natural world. Anne has been left with far more questions than answers, and honestly, it's hard to blame her. At this point, it's genuinely unclear who she should be dialing first. A wildlife specialist, a man of the cloth, or maybe someone else entirely. Josh had just settled into a brand new home, but the thrill of moving in didn't stick around for long. One night, while he was out, his sister found herself alone in the house and started picking up on strange sounds drifting up from the basement. Knowing nobody would take her word for it, she pulled out her phone and hit record as she cautiously headed down the stairs. See for yourself what she captured.
I've been hearing some creepy noises down here for a while, and I'm scared. I wanted to try and record it, because no one's gonna believe me. Now, as soon as I record it, nothing happens, okay? Huh? No. You gotta be. What the hell? This isn't funny. This has gotta be a prank. Hello? Oh, thank God. Hello? Guys, this isn't funny. What the? No. Hello? Hello? I'm coming in. Skills. Nothing. Okay, this is getting weird. What? Is that the chair? Oh, God.
Everything appeared perfectly ordinary at first. Then completely out of nowhere, a heavy door slammed shut right behind her. Within seconds, every single light in the basement died at once. There in the pitch black, a dim glow began bleeding out from one of the nearby rooms, and through it she could make out what appeared to be a shadow, drifting just past the doorway. When she finally worked up the nerve to go in, the room was entirely vacant. Then, shortly after, 3 deliberate knocks rang out slowly from somewhere in the opposite corner of the basement. 2 weeks down the line, Josh went through the exact same chilling sequence of events himself. Here's what his camera caught.
The same time this knocking starts. Terrifying the first few days, but now it's just annoying the hell out of us. Yup, I hear ya. A. Nothing. Always nothing. Brand new house too. And now this door is open. To the creepy ass room. God damn it. Nate, what the? Oh my God.
The moment Josh stepped inside the room to take a closer look, the lights cut out all over again. At that very instant, the door at his back swung shut on its own in complete silence, and the footage came to an abrupt stop. What was truly going on in that basement remains anyone's guess. A restless spirit, or something with a more grounded explanation? Nobody has ever been able to say for certain. A Reddit user uploaded footage that's been making the rounds ever since, capturing what appears to be something seated inside a parked vehicle, looking straight into the lens. Nothing about it reads as a setup. It has the feel of a spontaneous reaction. Phone yanked out the moment something seemed off. Not a carefully arranged shot.
Go check the car, but it seems as if it were a reflection.
It opens on the car itself, unremarkable, stationary. The kind of vehicle that looks like it hasn't moved in hours. Then the camera drifts toward the windshield, and that's when you see it. A figure occupying the driver's seat, oriented forward, not collapsed, not accidentally in frame, but deliberately facing the camera. The way something does when it was already watching you before you noticed it. After filming, the person walked over to inspect the car up close. And this is the part that stopped people from writing the whole thing off. The interior was completely empty. No one behind the wheel, no one in any seat, nothing that could explain what had just been staring back through the glass. That might have been the end of it, but it wasn't. The person retreated and began recording again from further away, and the figure reappeared. Same seat, same posture, same unwavering gaze locked onto whoever was holding the camera, as though walking away and coming back had meant absolutely nothing to whatever had decided it wanted to be seen. Our next clip comes from a French paranormal investigator named Roman. Roman has built a serious reputation for himself by venturing into locations throughout France that locals swear are thoroughly haunted. He tends to stream these nerve-wracking expeditions live on TikTok, letting his followers share in the dread as it unfolds in real time. During one of his more recent broadcasts, however, things inside an abandoned house escalated to a whole new level.
Please, tell me your story. I would have liked to know. Every time I come here, it's never the same. Always different. Every single time. Never ever.
I'm right next to you.
I see it. Don't you think it's a human or some... Look in my hands. You see, I have something.
On the ground.
Look what I have for you. I have a present for you. I'm not gonna run. You're the one who's gonna run off. Look. Look. You see it there? Did you see? Did that scare you? Did that scare you?
Here Roman is filming in what used to be the kitchen, and you can clearly make out several heavy objects sitting undisturbed on the dusty shelving. Then, with zero warning, every last one of them launches off the shelves simultaneously. Nobody is anywhere close to them, and the kind of force it would take to send everything flying at once makes it pretty hard to chalk this up to a stray breeze or some stage stunt. And yet, the strangeness doesn't stop there. As Roman carefully makes his way into the living room, he notices what looks like a white sheet draped over an old chair. Without any explanation, the fabric suddenly lifts off on its own, rising eerily into the air. It hovers there completely motionless in midair for several long seconds before dropping straight back down to the floor. The next clip was filmed inside a private medical facility in Argentina known as Sanatorio Finocchieto. At approximately 3:30 in the morning, the building's security camera picked up something deeply unsettling. The front entrance swung open on its own, as though an unseen figure had just stepped through. Shortly after, the door eased shut behind this invisible presence. A guard stationed at the front desk immediately rose to his feet and greeted whoever had just arrived, someone visible only to him. He reached for his clipboard, requested the visitor's name, and dutifully recorded it in the logbook. After a brief exchange, the guard gestured down the corridor and escorted the apparent patient further into the building. He even went so far as to offer them a wheelchair. The whole interaction looked completely routine, except for one deeply chilling detail. Nobody else ever appeared on that camera footage. When staff later reviewed the logbook, they were left in complete disbelief. The name that had been written down belonged to a patient who had passed away in that same hospital just days before. I'd love to hear what you make of this one. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. This next clip was posted to YouTube back in July 2009 and was reportedly shot in Belém, Pará, Brazil. According to the person who uploaded it, he had the house to himself with nothing going on, so he started snapping some photos around the place before eventually switching over to video. While making his way through one of the bedrooms, something totally unexpected unfolds. At roughly the 30-second mark, one of the cupboard doors suddenly flies open by itself, sending the uploader into a panic as he bolts out of the room and cuts the footage short. In the video's description, he mentions that after telling people what occurred, most of them laughed it off and flat out refused to take him seriously. Despite that, he stands firmly by his account and maintains that what happened was completely real. Of course, there's also every chance the whole thing was set up from the start, since there's no way to know what was going on before the camera started rolling. The possibility of a hoax can't be dismissed entirely. Regardless of where the truth lies, the uploader's reaction is nothing short of unforgettable and has kept this video making the rounds online for well over 10 years. So was this a genuine brush with the paranormal, or just a clever piece of old internet trickery? That one's yours to call. On the paranormal video subreddit, a user going by the name Arain posted a deeply unsettling piece of security footage. He explains that his father used to work night shifts as a security guard and would occasionally send him odd clips recorded during his patrols. Out of everything he ever received, he says this particular video is the one that has always gotten under his skin the most, and he's never quite been able to figure out why. If you look closely toward the edge of the frame, you'll spot a strange, completely still silhouette. It doesn't move away, it doesn't walk off, it just stands there, locked in place. The user mentions he always got the sense it was a woman, even though the image is genuinely hard to read. What pushes the scene into truly uncomfortable territory is a moment where the silhouette appears to shift ever so slightly, almost like a subtle sway, as though something is breathing. A few commenters floated the idea that it could just be a bug resting on the lens, but that faint movement makes that theory hard to swallow. particularly given how completely still everything else in the frame appears. So was this nothing more than a visual glitch, some kind of camera artifact, or was it an actual presence lurking in a neglected corner of that building? Nobody's been able to say for certain. He was on his own. Then everything took a terrifying turn. The videos you're about to see recently exploded across social media platforms. A KFC location in Ecuador has apparently become the setting for a series of disturbing and unexplainable events. Staff at the restaurant claim that during the early morning hours, while they're getting the place ready to open for the day, genuinely frightening things have been happening to them. In the first clip, we see one of the employees going about his cleaning routine. Then out of nowhere, this occurs. Later on that very same day, a separate security camera elsewhere in the building caught something equally unsettling. A large number of viewers are convinced that what's shown in these recordings is completely genuine and not some kind of setup. So much so that news channels across Ecuador actually broadcast the footage and covered the story. The word going around is that this restaurant is haunted. So what's your take on it? This next clip was submitted to the Nuke's Top 5 subreddit, and since I genuinely love my subreddit community, I'm going to borrow a description that one of my followers wrote about it. A user by the name of Minato caught something seriously strange on his home security camera while sitting on the toilet. So it turns out Minato is actually a guy named Dustin, and he apparently owns quite an impressive collection of bongs. But let's set that aside for now. What we're really here to discuss is what Dustin heard during his, shall we say, private moment. A soft, distinctly feminine voice can be heard saying his name. Dustin? Now, Dustin was completely alone in the house at the time, yet he says the voice came through so clearly that he genuinely believed someone was standing just on the other side of the bathroom door. What makes it even more unsettling is that Dustin's 2 dogs appear visibly uneasy, scanning the living room as though they're tracking something totally invisible to the rest of us. So did Dustin manage to capture, and I'm quoting here, something really odd on his home camera while pooping? And perhaps more importantly, just how extensive does one man's bong collection really need to get? Dustin, feel free to address both of those burning questions down in the comments. Home security clip uploaded by a YouTube channel called That's Always Right was recorded inside a Denver residence on March 25th, 2023. The footage opens on a quiet scene, a baby sleeping soundly in its crib while the child's father rests in a bed just a few feet away. For a moment, nothing seems out of the ordinary, and then this unfolds. Without any warning, the bedroom door swings wide open on its own. Several seconds pass, and then it slowly eases shut again, all while neither person in the room stirs. It's the specific behavior of that door that makes this clip so hard to dismiss. It doesn't just nudge open and hang there. It swings open and then reverses course, almost like something, or someone, had just passed through the frame. Predictably, opinions are divided. Some viewers are convinced there's a rational, everyday explanation behind it, while others suspect the whole thing may have been set up deliberately. On a more reassuring note, neither the father nor the infant appears to be disturbed or hurt at any point. So what's your take on what caused that door to move the way it did? Was there a completely logical reason behind it? Or could something unseen have been moving through that room? This footage was recorded back in July 2025. captured by a security camera set up inside a private residence. The owner explained that the device is a motion-activated unit mounted in the living room, meaning it only kicks on when something passes in front of its sensor. But on this particular day, something wasn't right. The homeowner was at work when his phone suddenly buzzed with an alert. The camera had picked up movement inside the house. The recording had started on its own, yet the room appeared to be completely empty. Then, after a beat, the family dog wandered into frame and began behaving in a way that was hard to explain, and what followed was somehow even more unsettling. See for yourself what the camera managed to capture. At first glance, nothing seems off, but once the footage is zoomed in and sharpened, something deeply strange comes into focus. The dog's collar appears to be pulled taut, as though something invisible has grabbed hold of it and is yanking it. According to the man who posted the video, the collar was fitted snugly and would not have tightened on its own. He also mentioned that in the weeks following this incident, his dog began falling ill repeatedly in ways that didn't make much sense. Given everything he witnessed in that footage, he's now convinced that his home may be haunted and that whatever is lurking there has been deliberately targeting his pet. So what do you think is really going on here?